Hi there everyone, welcome to Blackwell Meadows for this Emirates FA Cup first round replay between Darlington and Walsall. The winners will entertain Oxford United in the second round. The initial tie was a classic. Omar Holness started proceedings when he found the bottom corner to open the visitors' account. Both sides came close to adding to the scoreline and the woodwork saved both as the game ebbed and flowed. The Quakers received a further boost when Dan Scarr received his second yellow card and was off. The Saddlers, though, came back into the contest. Kylan Lavery earning parity before Liam Connell had a moment to forget, punching a corner into his own net. And Darlington's problems were compounded when Ben Headley took umbrage. Elijah Adebayo with some gamesmanship, the Walsall player doing his laces up to delay the kickoff, but he only succeeded in inspiring the red mist of Headley. But ultimately it failed to waste sufficient time, as in the 98th minute, Joe Wheatley made the telling connection to force tonight's replay. Well, the Darlington management and players had mixed feelings after the first game. For a long time on the verge of winning, then deep into injury time on the precipice of defeat, before that very late goal set up this replay tonight. And this upcoming match proved to be a major distraction at the weekend when they played in their National League North on Saturday and conceded 5 goals before half-time. Maybe this contest was on their minds. Well, Stuart Robson's with me. Stuart, you've been looking at one or two of the key players that we should keep an eye out on tonight.
Yeah, for Darlington, certainly looking at Adam Campbell. He's the joint leading goal scorer at the moment. He's also the youngest player to play for Newcastle in Europe at just 17. And while he was at the Magpies, he made 3 Premier League appearances. Alongside him will be Stephen Thompson. He's just one more goal to reach 100 for Darlington, which would be a record. He's had 5 goals from 16 appearances so far this season. In midfield, Omar Holness, 25-year-old Jamaican international who had a spell in MLS where he played for Real Salt Lake. And he scored the opening goal in the first game against Walsall.
Well, these days you'll find Darlington below halfway in the 6th tier of English football as they try to climb back into the Football League. They've come through 3 qualifying rounds to reach this stage of the FA Cup. Their best FA Cup run to the 5th round in 1958 when they knocked out Chelsea 4-1 in round 4. Well, Walsall have played twice since they blew their home advantage in this competition, winning both times. And they're here in better spirits, but well aware the cameras are also here sensing an upset at their expense. 42 places above Darlington in the pyramid, but hard work is needed to prove that point this evening.
Well, when you look at this Walsall side, it's Kylan Lavery is one of the key players. He'll certainly play up front, came on as a sub and scored Walsall's equaliser. He's played for numerous clubs, including both Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. He certainly is one of their main attackers today. And then up front, alongside him, Josh Gordon, partner Lavery up front, was signed by Leicester City when they were the Premier League champions after a really good spell at Stafford Rangers, but no first-team appearance there. But he's certainly found his form back at Walsall. And then Gary Liddell, really experienced player, can play in midfield or defence, but today I think he's going to play in midfield. He's played over 500 league games for, amongst others, Hartlepool, Notts County and Carlisle United, and he'll be in that central midfield position.
Well, Walsall are struggling in the 4th tier. They could drop into non-league themselves, but after 6 consecutive League 2 defeats, they picked up 3 points on Saturday at home against Cambridge United. And they, like Darlington, have never been beyond the last 16, but they got that far twice in the 21st century. Well, it's great to see Darlington in Darlington. They've had a really harrowing time. They have support, which is great credit to the town, and they're blossoming again after those years of turmoil, losing its Football League status a couple of times, actually. Financial chaos, ownership, which I guess, Stuart, to be generous, was over-ambitious. You might use other words as well about it. They had a brand new stadium that went to rack and ruin. They were ground sharing away from the area until finally developing this site in Darlington.
Well, they're a club with a good history. They're a proper footballing area. They've got some good players coming through, and they've reformed themselves, and they've started to climb the footballing pyramid again, and they would love to be back in the Football League in the very near future.
Well, the capacity here is just over 3,000. I think the Darlington tickets have all been sold. At Walsall, maybe not quite so many. Well, the clubs were regular lower Football League opponents for decades, but until 11 days ago, only one FA Cup meeting in that time, back in 1931. And Darlington were at home, and they won 1-0 on their original ground of Feetham's. They've had to do a lot of work on this site to turn it into fit for purpose, and I think a little bit more still to be done if they were to climb the 2 levels that they need to get back into the Football League. How these fans would love that. There was over 1,200 of them at Walsall, and they were absolutely thrilled to bits, particularly, well, they were obviously thinking they'd won it, then they looked as though they lost it, and then the goal came in the 98th minute to bring everybody here tonight, whichever vantage point they can get.
And the one good thing is the pitch is in decent condition as well.
That first game, if it's anything like it, we're in for a treat. 2 goals apiece, 1 red card apiece, and much of the action happening in chaotic closing stages, really. Mixed emotions, as I say, at the end for both clubs. I suppose both in the end a little bit relieved to be able to get a second chance at it.
And maybe 1 or 2 scores to settle from that first game. It became a bit feisty towards the end.
Yes, the fact there's 11 days between the original game and the replays allowed the players who were sent off to serve their suspensions. So yeah, that could be interesting, but as we'll see when we get to the team news, it's a very different looking Walsall lineup. But here they come. Remember, quite a prize at stake, a home tie in round 2. Someone's going to get it after the events of this evening to Oxford United. Well, I'm sure we'll be keeping a very careful eye on how this pans out. The black and white hoops of Darlington. Walsall played on the Tuesday of last week, won 6-0 against Forest Green in the Football League trophy, and a few players from that game. As much change from the original game against Darlington. Quite a few players have forced their way into the lineup, played in the league game against Cambridge United on Saturday, and are here tonight up in the northeast of England. Well, let's give you the team news. And Darlington's Ben Headley has served his suspension for being sent off at Walsall. He's available at right back. Omar Holness, and in the 98th minute, Joe Wheatley scored the Darlington goals in the original tie. 1 for Stephen Thompson tonight would take him to 100 for this club. But backup attackers, Osagi Bascom and Jordan Donowa are out. Both played for Bermuda against Mexico earlier today. And the joint top scorer, Tyrone O'Neill, has been recalled by his parent club, Middlesbrough. A remarkable 8 changes for Walsall from the initial tie. Only Matt Sadler at the back and Rory Holden and Liam Kinsella in midfield keep their places. Wes McDonald and Caelan Lavery came on as substitutes. Josh Gordon didn't get on the pitch in that game, but he scored 4 times in Walsall's 2 games since. Dan Scarr, Walsall's red card offender, is available after completing his ban. He's on the bench. Well, at this time of year, and particularly in the realms of non-league football, one always keeps a weather eye on the weather, but we're blessed here with good conditions for just past mid-November. And a real sense of expectation. A club that could easily have gone out of business and fought to survive, and these are the days you fight for. You get an FA Cup run, There's money to be made as well as pride and prestige, with the prizes on offer financially from the Football Association.
It shows just how much potential this club has got when you just mentioned 1,200 supporters going down to that first game from Darlington.
There's Alan Armstrong, who had a bit of a career himself, played for Ipswich and played famously for Ipswich, scored home and away against Inter Milan in the, I guess it was called the UEFA Cup then. Darryl Clark has the responsibility for Walsall. Had a lot of options in picking his team. We had a fair idea what the Darlington lineup would be when we reported for duty tonight, but Walsall, every department really competitive. They changed the goalkeeper. Liam Roberts has come in for Jack Rose. Or he would say come back for Jack Rose. Roberts has been the first choice. Anyway, we're ready to go. Oxford United are awaiting the weekend after next. Blackwell Meadows. There's the cameras. Darlington have the honour of global recognition tonight. They want to make the very most of it. Here's Holden. He's on loan from Bristol City. The left back is Cockerell Mollett, one of those who's won his place since the first game, on from Norman, across from the lively Lavery.
Already you see that Norman, the right back's trying to get forward as much as he can. Just looking at the shape, it could be that they'll sort of change their shape slightly again. Just wait and see how that develops.
Well, they did start the first game with 3 at the back, went a goal down and immediately abandoned it with just over 20 minutes gone. He's a deep thinker, Darryl Clark, like a lot of the younger coaches. It wouldn't be a surprise if he's got a trick or two up his sleeve.
It's just that position that Norman's taken up, so he could be just edging to become a right wing back.
Here's the player who could show that versatility is the experienced Gary Little. Of course, as you said, Stuart can play at the back and in midfield. Number 26, he doesn't get across there. Also try and settle to their new environment. First game here. Of course, they played at other Darlington venues. Liam Connell is the goalkeeper. He's actually on loan from another non-league team, South Shields, for whom he played at Wembley. I think probably the ambitions of these two clubs extend in this competition to getting that far, but you never know. Certainly seen non-league teams do well in recent seasons. Lincoln City are in cup replay action tonight as a league club. A fantastic run of years back.
There's the big centre-half, Galbraith. He's gone up. He's the target for most of these set plays.
Taken by Headley. And the goalkeeper saying that's mine, and it's very decisive from Roberts.
Yeah, Cross just had a bit too much air on it, gave him a chance to get out there and take a good early catch.
Liam Roberts worked hard to get a career at Walsall. He was actually released 5 years ago by the club, and then a few weeks later said, "No, actually we do still need you." And he grasped his second chance. Scott Oldham is the referee. Mr. Oldham from Lancashire, no surprise in that really, if you know your English geography. Here's Wes McDonald, who's only under contract at Walsall till January, so he's really got a point to prove to try and extend his deal. He was lively when he came on in the first game. It was part of the early change when they abandoned the initial defensive strategy. He's a wide player, likes to get at the opposition, and Walsall have a corner here, which little shapes to take. A bit of bluff and counter bluff. This is what they've worked on to get McDonald on the ball. Trying to get his shot away. Holden. And from McDonald again. And the kind of ball forwards like to get across. It couldn't quite get across either Gordon or Lavery.
It looked to be a decent cross when he struck it. They can cause so many problems. The in-swinger, they're all onside as well. They get back into an onside position, just can't quite get there, Lavery. Just looking at the shape of Walsall. When they're defending, they play with a back four. When they're in possession, they go to a back three. Norman goes high up the field and the left back tucks in Cockerell Mollett. He's the target for a lot of long balls played on the diagonal. The right back, Norman.
So, time for the turn here. The guy who played really well in the first game is Will Hatfield here, who covered so much ground, actually drove his team forward in those desperate last minutes and won the free kick from which they got the equaliser. McDonald. Cynical block.
He's got to be a little bit careful, Headley. It's a couple of times that McDonald's just stepped over it and gone past him. He's going to be under a bit of pressure, the right back.
If you talk to him, he'll tell you that he's a central midfield player. As often is the case, if you can't get in there, you get in one of the full-back positions, and that's where he is.
Well, when he plays poorly at right back, he says he's a central midfield player. When he plays well, he's versatile.
Lavery, who was born in Canada, so qualifies and has played for Northern Ireland at youth level. Gordon quite similar. They both like to run in behind. They're not the taller variety of striker. But, there's an early chance here. It's a good cutout by Clark, the Walsall captain. Had to really stretch. There goes Hatfield.
There was the front two trying to combine.
Ball from Connell, making it difficult for Mollett to chase back. This was tight to offside. He probably was level. The flag stayed down anyway, and Clark, in the end, after raising his arm, did respond to the ball in just as well for Walsall that he did.
Good movement from Rivers down that right-hand side.
Rivers takes the corner, not quite so good that time. Back by Headley, and again all of the Darlington players have had time with Football League clubs and reassembled here as a group. Terrific spirit. They were going very well in the National League North until they really fell apart at Brackley Town in the first half on the Saturday, with a very similar team. Because of the problems that they've got, injuries and lack of availability. To have two players away on international duty is very unlucky for a side with a small squad. That's the way it's been with Bermuda. They were hanging out some hopes that Bermuda wouldn't pick them, but they both started, the two Darlington boys, 2-1 by Mexico earlier today. Forward by Clark. Here's Norman, who you mentioned, who's rebuilding his career. He dropped into non-league football himself for a while. He started with Norwich City and not making the breakthrough there. Another booming ball from Connell. And done very well to get it wide to Jarrett Rivers. Darlington might be in here. Hatfield really hit it. Good stop by Roberts. First real direct goal-mouth action, and it's come from the non-league team. That's got the crowd going.
Well, what a ball it was from Connell. Out of the goalkeeper's arms here. This is the last bit of play. Rivers does well to get past Corporal Mollett. Seemed to be a good cross into the box, but as you mentioned, Hatfield, it seems to be on the spot all the time. Driving midfield player. It's a decent shot. Nice height for the goalkeeper, Roberts. He's their key midfield player, isn't he?
He absolutely is. He started at Leeds United, didn't get any first-team football there. Sometimes that finishes young players. Others prepared to drop down to have a career, and he's done that once again with a different kind of goalkeeping work. He read the play. From Michael Little, the left-back for Darlington, who's come back from injury.
Got a midfield three. It looks as though Hatfield is the player that can drive forward. Wigne's very much the holding midfield player, the number 4, just sitting in front of his 2 centre-backs, and Holness will play on the left of those.
Oh, was caught out by that second Walsall goal. It's probably an own goal, although Walsall tried to credit it to the corner taker. Alfie Bates is on the bench tonight.
Thing is for sure, he's got a great kick on him, the goalkeeper, Connell, either out of his hand or off the ground.
He's trying to get it up to Stephen Thompson, playing through the middle. Rivers one side, Campbell the other. Done by Norm. Loop it back again. Gordon goes down. Been combining his football with academic studies in the university environment, doing a BA in sports development. We're hoping there's a bit of development for Walsall from this long throw. Holden! Closing down to stop the shot, but fortunately for Darlington, the shot was off target.
I think the ball actually gets stuck under his feet here. It's a good long throw. They win the first ball. Tries to get it on the half volley. But he was actually stretching for it. Couldn't quite get it down with his first touch. On the half volley, just slices across it. Good chance for him. He normally plays wide on the right, but he's just tucked in field slightly to allow the right back Norman to get forward.
This is where Darlington have got to keep their wits about them. There's 2 lively forwards, Gordon here and Lavery. Been doing well. Lavery came on and scored, of course, in the first game. He's been in the team since then. In these two home matches that they've had, one in the Football League Trophy and one in their division of the Football League, League 2.
Just suggests that Darryl Clark is still looking for that right combination all around the field. Not quite sure what his best team is, who his best players are. Maybe a good cup run will just make it slightly easier for him.
His old club, Bristol Rovers, got through last night, away to non-league opposition in Bromley. He wants to follow suit.
As so many teams are doing now. They change their shape from when they have the ball to when they don't have the ball.
Gary Little, a little on either side. Gary Little, well known in this part of the world, not for playing for Darlington, but for playing against them for Hartlepool, being a rival to them. And trying to get away again.
Got a long throw on both sides. Well, look, they're not going to take it this time.
Kinsler, son of Mark of that ilk, who had almost 50 caps for the Republic of Ireland. Here's Hatfield on the charge again. Cochrane Mullet's got back and dispossessed him very cleanly. And this is Gordon lining up the shot. And the Lavery just has a look at him to say, could you have squared it? He's on a good goal-scoring streak, is Josh Gordon.
And he's just got too much pace here for Storey. He's having a difficult time. Goes past him. He actually tried to have a little tug at his shirt here, made sure he didn't foul him. I think he's right to go for goal from this angle. Goalkeeper's backing away. Doesn't quite get over the top of it. Big chance, but he's certainly a threat.
On by Kinsella. Here's Storey. It's a difficult take for Hatfield, but he's made light of it. And they just came across McDonald's path and invited the foul.
Clever play, wasn't it? Just saw him try and get away from Cochrane Mullet, and he wasn't able to do so. That time he cut across McDonald, knew he was going to win the free kick.
15 minutes gone. Both sides have shown some attacking promise. I'm not surprised at that after what happened in the first game. Nice readjustment by Roberts. Make sure he got plenty behind it and read the bounce.
The in-swinger from Michael Liddell, gone across from left back to take that free kick.
Seen too much of Adam Campbell so far, who promised so much as a 17-year-old. He got into Newcastle's first team, played in Europe, played in the Premier League.
Still holds that record, doesn't he, for the youngest player to play in Europe for Newcastle United.
Foul by Thompson. Quite an achievement to get 99 goals for a non-league club. There's usually a lot of movement. Too many long servants at their level of the game. He would equal the club record if he gets to 100.
Here's that feisty. Here's the feistiness we saw from the first game. Free kick's gone Darlington's way here.
It's very ambitious. Weatherly reflects. The referee's got a bit of sorting out to do. I know there's a lot of changes for Walsall, but if they weren't playing in the game, they were watching it. And in the West Midlands.
And ball was given against Kinsella. Honest with the last foul, and they took it very quickly. Wasted opportunity.
Cochrane Mullet. A nice little ground. We had to start from scratch, really. Get it fit for football. As you can see from the markings, it's not just football that's played here. There's a ball to be won. I think Liddell won it fairly enough. There was no complaint from Hatfield. This goes Matt Sadler, who's the most experienced of the Walsall players, but he's made a hash of that. Roberts was there. Good goalkeeping again. He's having plenty to do.
Yeah, it was good play from Thompson on that occasion, winning the ball back on that far side of the field. Feisty little player.
Sadler played in the Premier League for Birmingham City and was an England youth international. Back at Walsall for a second spell. He was a left back in the first one. I think that was when he was playing in the Premier League as a left back. He's a centre back now. He did score in the win over Cambridge United on Saturday. His first Walsall goal for some 8 years. Here's Holden looking for one tonight. Right-footed, left-footed, playing from the right. Couldn't get it onto his left foot then.
There's that kick again out to the right-hand side. Brilliant strike from Connell.
You talk about the younger goalkeepers being brought up on the footwork and the distribution, but he's 34, Liam Connell. So, and here's the other Liam Roberts. That was close. No goal line technology here, but it might be worth a look if we had it.
There's a good bit of trickery again from Rivers down that right-hand side. He's just started to cause Cockrell Mollett one or two problems.
Norman, push on.
Was that cross again? A tight one.
An appeal
was certainly claiming it.
Campbell was in front of the goalkeeper. He was claiming not very convincingly, I don't think. Is the long throw going to come in again? Nice little room for a run up here for Norman. As long as the earlier one. Disappointment for Lavery. It's quite an achievement to play for both Sheffield clubs, isn't it? He's certainly jumped at the chance to leave Wednesday for United a few years back. Well, 20 minutes gone. Also have had a lot of the ball, but I would say Darlington have had a fair bit of danger at Roberts' end.
Well, I'd say both sides look a threat when balls are played in behind. For Darlington, it's down that right-hand side where they've caused one or two problems. For Walsall, it's balls over the top, and when the front two are combined with each other, it's been a fairly even first 20 minutes or so.
Just not quite set. Hatfield.
And maybe the wrong decision on that occasion. There's a player outside of him here. Good set-up play by Thompson. There's that pass out wide. You can just see on your...
Yeah, it was Rivers coming onto it. Alan Armstrong has also got his son Reece, who's a substitute tonight in the squad. Pretty short, actually, of senior players to back up the bench. They haven't got the full 7 permitted. They've certainly, Tyrone O'Neill, have done very well in the qualifying rounds of the FA Cup. Disappointment that Middlesbrough called him back before the loan had actually run out. He obviously had a recall built into it, and he hasn't featured for Middlesbrough since he's gone back, and he could have been playing in this cup tie tonight. That's the Darlington point of view anyway. I'm sure Middlesbrough have a different view on it. Here's Norman. He's sort of gone towards the near post, but not with any great conviction. Holden. Michael Little gets it away. Slightly risky manoeuvre from Gary Little. Really clear the danger when he got to the ball either. They're starting to double up on Rivers now, with a little bit of justification, the way the wide man has started.
One player that's going to be quite disappointed the way the game has panned out in this opening 22 minutes is going to be Campbell out on this left-hand side. He's been chasing Norman back most of the time. He's never been in an advanced area where he can make things happen for Darlington. And he's just talking to his left back now. I don't want to keep chasing back. So he's just at the bottom of your picture, still looking at his left back.
It's a while since I've covered a Darlington Cup replay. Manchester City, when they were in the 3rd tier of English football, the early years of this century. A 1-1 draw.
I'm sure many younger viewers wouldn't believe that Manchester City were in the 3rd tier of English football.
It's less than 20 years ago. Darlington came up with one of the best corner routines I've ever seen. Marco Gabbiadini played a big part in it, and I think it was Gary Bennett, a former City player, who converted it. Quite the delicacy of the set pieces that night so far, but it was a moment to treasure at the old Feetham's ground. Mollet heads it back. Not going to involve Campbell with passes quite like that. Certainly wasn't going to fall on the short side from Headley.
He was a powerful player in his time, Alan Armstrong.
He hails from this part of the world, from Gateshead, just south of Newcastle, just across the River Tyne. Paul Gascoigne territory. Lavery from Alberta, Canada. Darlington free kick, just past the 25-minute mark in the first half. Two teams that contrived to finish level 11 days ago. Clark wanted a free kick. Darlington wanted and got a corner.
Well, he was put under a lot of pressure. It was a ball played just over the top of his head. He had to back in. Thompson put him under a bit of pressure. Now another chance for Darlington to whip this one in.
Galbraith is forward again. Well, it may be something from that previous game I mentioned. And in the end, the flag has gone up for offside.
Just for a moment, the referee must have been thinking about giving a penalty there when the ball first came in. It was well worked as well down this left-hand side.
Picked on by Gordon. Now McDonald. It is cross into where Lavery and Gordon were waiting.
Yeah, that's not good news for Darlington when Story gets called out against McDonald. Headley was tucked in field, and it meant the centre-half had to go out and deal with the winger.
And throw not being called upon this time. And Bestek, the best contrived short throw either. Sense the tension, Walsall with the expectation when you're drawn at home, as Darrell Clark would have known when he got the original tie home to a non-league team. Should be something that could take full advantage of, and they were seconds away from doing that, even though it was a bumpy road to get to that 2-1 lead. Along came Wheatley.
I'm sure he'd say he didn't, but by his team selection in that first game, I think he slightly underestimated Darlington.
Campbell trying to get involved more centrally. There's the dangerous McDonald. He's never shy at committing defenders. He's got options to the right, and he hasn't picked out either of them.
Somewhere in between two, wasn't it? Between Lavery and Holden. But he's certainly the danger man when he picks up the ball and starts to run with it. Lavery's just trying to pull off, and he's trying to play it wide to Holden.
Lavery was trying to stay on the side. McDonald, who is a Londoner from the borough where he used to play, Stuart, from Islington. Holden. In the way was Holness. Made up by Thompson. Here comes Hatfield again, and the width provided by Rivers. Gets the cross in, and goodness, a little bit lower. That might have been touched in at the near post. Again, Roberts with work to do. They look dangerous, Darlington. Might be a little bit down on the even share of possession, but particularly And Rivers gets the ball on the right-hand side, and they're looking for him again.
Once again, it was Hatfield that just found that bit of space. He was driving forward with the ball, played it out wide. The problem that Darlington have is when they do get crosses into the box, the two players in there, Thompson and Campbell, aren't particularly big. So it has to be the perfect cross. It has to be whipped in with pace.
But it's certainly an avenue to explore. You're absolutely right about Darryl Clark and bringing the changes and not a dreadful run. Those 6 league defeats in a row, and then the draw at home to Darlington. It's perked up in the last week. Inching down the touchline. Thompson trying to get away. Sadler across. Trusty left foot of his. Holness did well. Here's Michael Little joining in. Hatfield, where there's a will, there's a way for Darlington. Quite the way to the back of the net.
One or two of the Darlington players were saying he should have cut it back. There's no chance of him cutting it back here. It's a great dynamic run for him, but he was always running out of space. He's really positive with his runs and his movement. No way he was going to get a cut back in. The only way he was going to get a decent cross was by lofting it to the far post. Always stretching it for it.
It's been half an hour. Certainly not been a stalemate, has it?
Certainly both sides trying to play on the front foot.
Campbell. Almost goes outside of him. Campbell in the end lining up the shot. Another corner.
That's what we've really seen of Campbell. Picked up the ball, had a bit of space to run into. Backed off of him and backed off of him.
Variation from the last Darlington left wing corner. This time it's more conventional. Plenty of height for Walsall. Rivers puts it back in again, and Sadler quite difficult to deal with the ball in the presence of Galbraith.
That's a chance for Galbraith just to head that back into the danger area. They had two players racing onto it. Just did enough, Sadler.
Yeah, as I said earlier, he was really a left back who's become a left-sided centre back as he's got older. He's 34 now. There's not so much height up front for Walsall either. There's physical presence in other parts of the team, but they're relying more on speed and trying to get in behind, and Donald's driving runs from the left. James Clark is across here. And away from Thompson. There's plenty of belief about Darlington. They were absolutely shattered what happened on Saturday. At least in the second half they did, as you often say when you're trailing at half-time, try and win the second half. They did actually do that, but they were 5-0 down at half-time and tried to put it into some sort of context. The general feeling was that this was on their minds. And the only way to, in any way, justify that, if you can ever justify it, is to come and win the cup tie. Their next step, incidentally, in the non-league pyramid is to get into the National League, which is the whole country. They're in the National League North, which will feed the League to it at the moment. Is it Brian Little got them back into the Football League when he was manager a few years ago now? Famous player, England international, manager of Aston Villa, player of Aston Villa. Here's Little. Numbers in the centre now. The cross doesn't arrive, and Walsall have a chance maybe to use the pace that they have on the counter-attack, but it was a poor ball out. And they find themselves, the League Two club, pinned into their own half at the moment. Hatfield. Little trying to stop him, but Darlington looking for Michael Little here. Has a go, and might have been a little deflection. It's a bit of a tentative shot, really. Get his full weight behind it. Maybe hoping someone was coming across the line of it.
Yeah, he doesn't get his standing foot off the ground. As you said, he doesn't really hit through the back of the ball, but it could have caused Roberts one or two problems. Darlington are certainly on top in terms of shots and shots on target, despite they haven't had quite as much possession as Walsall, but that's beginning to even up now.
There were one or two signs early on, particularly with the Lavery-Gordon combination, that they might have a bit too much for Darlington's back line, but in fact the non-league team have upped the ante, and at this stage are looking the more threatening side. Norman prevents the corner. Holden into trouble, and there's Wheatley flying in, the hero of their comeback to set up the replay. Doesn't get forward that often, and he did then. A chance for Michael Little. It is a cutback this time. Chance for handball in their eagerness. Thompson and Holness going for the same ball. They're up on their feet now, and Darlington are certainly on the front foot. Little was coming in at the back post there, hoping it would drop over everyone. And Walsall really pushed back here. Holness, the Jamaican, with the shimmy. Little getting more and more forward. Sadler has to come across onto his less favoured side to try and plug another gap. A very good spell this for their favourites.
As you said, they can't get out at the moment, Walsall. Darlington, even though they aren't getting on the end of crosses, when it comes out to the edge of the box, they're picking up the bits and pieces.
And by Michael Little, fired across. There have been some dynamic runs from McDonald, and that's a decent ball. Chance for handball against Lavery. He just pulled away into space, back by Holden, but no great purpose to it. It's a very straight ball, really. He got an option to his right that he didn't really spot.
That initial movement by Lavery was really good. He realised that Michael Little was up the field. He just pulled into the left-back space. Better touch with his chest. He might have got a shot away. Good vision also from McDonald.
It drops off Galbraith, and that's the liveliness in the box that Lavery crossed it, and Gordon, who tried to convert it, do possess.
That's a good combination. Pacey, aware of each other's positions, making some good runs as well.
Gary Little to take the corner. Sadler fresh from his goal against Cambridge United. On the sniff for another one. Clark, who scored 3 times this season, is also in there. It was off a second ball. The sort of opportunity that strikers like Lavery want. Darrell Clark will be hoping his front men can convert.
That's where so many goals are scored from. Centre forward just on the corner of the 6-yard box, goes through everybody. First touch is okay, but then slices off the outside of his left foot.
Win by Sadler in the air. second header wasn't great, nor was Clark's. Holness also, not Holness, Thompson also hurt in that.
He's got quite a job on his hands tonight, the referee. He's done well so far.
Yeah, he's doing it with a smile, which is always nice to see from the neutral point of view. It's not always so great if you're playing and you feel the decision's gone against you. And there was another ball that presented some danger, and a better touch from Josh Gordon. He might have added to the 4 he scored in the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's got a great position there inside of Headley, the fullback. As you said, a good touch. The next one would have been a shot.
It's a little surprising that we've got the 40-minute mark without a goal being scored. Campbell coming in on his right foot might have been able to shift it through the centre had he got there first. Holden. Norman. Ball forward by Michael Liddell. Here's Hatfield. Taken on by Headley. Rivers outside him. He was trying to give him a ball to nick away past the defender. I don't think it was the best ball that Rivers could have received.
I just think that Cockrell Mollett is a little bit worried. He's diving in. He's trying to win the first ball. Something that Rivers will quite like the look of, I'd imagine. Just nick it past him.
No problem for Alex Story. Armstrong anxious to know whether a change might be required. They're only minutes away from half-time. A proper assessment might be made. Darren Clark pacing up and down. He's expected to win. That's the problem in the couple of divisions between the teams. But League Two, especially the lower regions of it, where you find Walsall at the moment, it's a very anxious place to be in the football pyramid. Thing in favour of Walsall is only one club is going down to the National League from the Football League this season because of the demise of Bury.
You see they sometimes go to a back 3 with Liddell just dropping that little bit deeper. Normal getting forward to good effect early on in the game. Hasn't been able to do so much in the last 20 minutes or so.
Armstrong will be very pleased with the first half performance. They haven't really looked like conceding too often. The half chances for the league side. Armstrong. Michael Liddell. Again, good accuracy into the feet of Thompson. And now Rivers. Hatfield joining in the middle if Rivers tries to find him. Battle to get it clear to Walsall. In the end, Norman plays it out and gets the throw.
Started to see a little bit of quality from Michael Liddell, the left back. That ball into the front was an excellent pass, and suddenly they switch it out to the right hand side. He does well here. Rivers cuts it back onto his left foot, just doesn't get enough height on it. 3 players in the box, Hatfield being one of them.
Yeah, they were waiting on Michael Liddell's fitness. He didn't play in the game at Walsall. And Galbraith have been checked out and passed for tonight after good work from the Darlington medical team. Across with the header. Former Sunderland youth player. He's slightly caught out of position here. Lavery. Comes out as far as McDonald. Under orders again to get at Darlington. The closer he gets to goal, the harder it becomes. Headley did well against him then. Thompson, again trying to be the focal point.
He's a bustling sort of centre forward, isn't he? Chases everything, puts defenders under pressure. He's not the biggest player, but he's certainly worked hard to get his body in the way, win those balls played forward from his defenders.
Holden just got there in time. In front of Holness. When they go long, they're not really dropping it over the top for anyone to chase, and Lavery and Gordon both better facing the opposing goal with their backs to it.
I think Story and Galbraith have now started to drop that little bit deeper. In the early stages they were playing quite high, there was a lot of space to hit it in behind. Because they were beaten for pace a couple of times, they just dropped a bit deeper.
A lovely ball forward by Little. Thompson guided off to Campbell here. Holden trying to get it away. Holness doing his best to stop that.
You have to say, in terms of the quality of football, Darlington have been the better side in this first half.
Too much in the way of stoppages in the first half. Holden. And Gary Little again trying to orchestrate those around him, but taking almost too long. Got away with it. The same applies to Clark, who was caught as he played it forward, but if you dwell on the ball, always encouraging a player like Thompson to come in and make the block if he can.
They've got off forwards with a rough deal here. He's trying to block the ball being played for, and it's the follow-through, I think, from Clark.
Goes into Thompson.
Yeah, just there. He's not trying to block the ball being played forward. And as the kick comes through, it just catches Thompson. I don't think there was any intent from the centre forward.
Last few moments of the first half. Away by Holness, and it is half-time here. And Darlington get a good hand as they go in at Blackwell Meadows, because these knowledgeable fans appreciate what the club is trying to do and what Alan Armstrong's team is trying to do to cause an FA Cup upset here. They've played some good stuff after a bit of a sluggish start, and Darrell Clark has looked the more concerned of the two managers. But at half-time, in this first round replay, it's Darlington 0, Walsall 0. No changes at half-time. Referee Scott Oldham just waiting for the signal from the sideline to get the second half underway.
It seems as though he brought the teams out fairly early for this second half.
Yeah, I think the teams came out early and he sort of followed. On a chilly evening, you don't want to be standing about, particularly if you just come out of the dressing room, and Walsall might be a bit vulnerable at the beginning of this second period. The stretching going on. So second half underway. Remember, there's extra time and of course the possibility of penalties if they cannot be separated in the 90 minutes.
Also in that first half, too many bits of combination play. They relied very much on the front two linking up with each other and the pace to get in behind the two centre halves. Maybe need just to play that little bit more, Walsall.
This crowd around the 3,000 mark. So thrilled with the way that Darlington have risen from the ashes. in administration, and they actually were dissolved as a club, renamed as Darlington 1883, the year that they were initially founded, and then when they got themselves back on their feet, they went to the Football Association and said, can we please just be called Darlington again? And it's good that the authorities recognise the traditions, and also, of course, investigating the solidity, the new solidity of this club up in the northeast of England. And how solid will they be from Holden's delivery here? Oh, and the goalkeeper shouted for it, and was able to catch it, or tried to catch it at a low point. Quick reminder of the lineups for you. There hasn't been so far, although there's been some reasonable attacking pressure, and you can see where a goal might come from for either side. The wide players, Rivers for Darlington, Gordon through the middle here, but certainly McDonald, the number 25 at the bottom of your screen. If they can get the ball to him. But there haven't been that kind of pressure error that might decide a cup tie. I hope his side haven't got that in them, or that they might be able to take advantage as the evening wears on of something that goes astray with the non-league team.
Yeah, if I was Darryl, well, I've got to be looking at that space in behind Story or Gordon to run into. Story looks the slowest of the Darlington centre-backs.
Cochrane Mollett, who started well, had some difficult times against Rivers. A free kick, maybe a little closer. They curled the ball in for that equaliser from Wheatley. Thompson trying to get to it in the middle, the only one. Half-hearted shouts for a penalty on the field and the fans behind that goal. Here's McDonald getting it away to Kinsella, who we didn't see too much of in the first half. Little. It's misjudged by his namesake, Michael Little. Partially away from Galbraith. Holden would like to get it onto his left foot. Hatfield was aware of that. He tries to get out in typical fashion, does get out in typical fashion until Gary Little came across. Well, it's cut and thrust, nip and tuck, all the cup cliches that you want to dig up here, but there has to be a winner.
He keeps looking out to that right-hand side, does the goalkeeper, Roberts.
Might take a set piece to make the breakthrough, and that was Liam Kinsella. He does look remarkably like his dad did at his age.
Unfortunately, he was completely outplayed in the first half by Hatfield. They were up against each other, but just looks as though Hatfield has changed to the left-hand side of that midfield three. Not quite sure why he'd want to do that, or why the manager would want him to do that. He had so much success in that first half.
Connell has got 4 in the wall. Here's Norman. A bit of direction, but too much power, and it was never quite dip enough for him.
Yeah, it's a decent strike. Just a bit of whip on it. It's a side spin, but not any top spin. Not coming down in time.
There's a lot at stake for these players. Not many of them on lengthy contracts. Club part of their division. They want to show that they can lift them up the league table, and maybe boost the coffers that a cup run would bring. It's a home tie against Oxford United, who bring plenty of supporters of their own in the second round, the weekend after next. Wheatley, Headley. popular player, Rivers, and he certainly lived up to his popularity in the first half.
That's quite a nice role he's got. He doesn't have to do too much defending. He can stay high and wide on the right-hand side. They look to switch the play out to him as much as possible.
James Clark was caught out then by the movement of Thompson.
He was disappointed he didn't bring this one down. He'd made the right run. He'd got in behind the centre-half, Clark. He's won his team a corner. There's the big target. 1, 2 or 3 in the air. Galbraith.
Oh, and it was off the head of Holness. Thompson, rather. Who isn't a tall man, as you said in the first half, Stuart, is he? He's certainly of the stocky variety, but he's got the strength to hold defenders off and to bulldoze himself into good positions.
That was a big chance for him as well. I think he was surprised that he was so free.
McDonald. He's had his moments in the match. And still could be one who could be a game changer for Walsall.
Yeah, in that early period in the game when he was running at the fullback, Headley, and coming in on his right foot, so playing to the front players, or get his shot away, or get a cross in, or an in-swinging cross, he looked a threat.
Long throw, problem in the lights for Michael Liddell. Back from the thrower, Norman. He dropped here for McDonald. It did drop for him. Again, Darlington vigilant in their defending. Hatfield. It's more supporting Thompson. Gordon. It's a solid challenge from Michael Liddell. Corner given.
Yeah, you could hear there's a chance here for McDonald. Does come off the arm of the defender, Story, but nothing he can do about that. Goes from his body onto his arm.
And that's spelt out in the new legislation about handball. It does deflect from another part of the body. It's certainly not to be given. But a corner for Walsall. 8 minutes into the second half. Sadler trying to flick it on. Hoping to get a second bite at the cherry from a corner. Good work again by Galbraith. Really nothing between the two teams. Maybe Lavery can try and come up with a decisive moment. Kinsler's there. Holden towards McDonald. Holden again. Gordon. There's nothing if not willing, and trying to get around the outside of Story then, who's had some problems in the first half, but was very stern in his resistance this time. Thompson. He's pressed well. Now slightly out of shape, Walsall. Here's Hatfield. Wants it back again. Will Hatfield for Darlington. Waiting on the edge. It's come out by Gary Liddell.
Gary Liddell read that really well. He was trying to roll, namesake Michael Liddell was trying to roll the ball into the centre forward. The midfield player recognised that and just stepped in front of him. Made it look like a bad pass.
Mullet winning out against Rivers this time. McDonald. And again. He's trying to earn himself a longer deal with Walsall. Gordon found a bit of room there, able to take it on the half turn. Pretty optimistic shot with the defenders all around him. Kinsler. Out by Headley. Wheatley.
He just hasn't been able to affect the game. Kinsella in that midfield area. Alongside Gary Liddell and Holden.
He was born when his dad was a Walsall player. Cross by Holness. As the evening wears on, I'm sure the game will open up. The running of people like Gordon may well find a space, and that's the combination. Lavery got there but couldn't keep it down.
There's a good bit of movement from him as well. Same with Gordon down that right-hand side. The ball played down the side. Centre half, Galbraith doesn't really want to get out there. There's the movement from Lavery. It's a late movement, and he gets there first before Story.
Both the strikers want the ball played in front of them. Gordon got it down the right, and Lavery coming on to the cross. There's going to be a change. And young Alfie Bates. It's going to be the first substitute for Walsall. The player who claimed the goal. Put Walsall 2-1 up in the first game, although most observers put it down to the unfortunate Connelling goal. It's an own goal. It was Bates's corner.
Also played in the last game against Cambridge as the central midfield player.
They're going to go youth over experience, because we're hearing that Gary Little's the player coming off. Off yet. Headley. Get it in to Thompson. It's good work by Holness. Here's Rivers. Headley, who could have touched and crossed, and eventually does put it in with his left foot, but it's going to be over Hatfield and beyond the redress of Campbell.
Yeah, about 3,000 people were shouting for Headley to cross the ball as it came back to him. Took it onto his left foot, allowed Walsall to organise themselves defensively.
Only 21, Ben Headley, given a chance by Darlington this season. But even younger is 18-year-old Alfie Bates. Or 33-year-old Gary Liddell. Bates, born in Coventry, and very much one of their own. Very proud, actually, the number of young players who've come through the Walsall Academy who've been involved in recent games. And that's often the way for league clubs, as one set, of course, of players from all over the world in English football, but in League Two, too much money about in terms of having funds to buy players. You've got to breed them.
It's going to be very much the holding midfield play. It's just a straight swap.
Made by Galbraith. Finding a bit of fruitful ground on the right-hand side of the attack. Still trying to get a cast iron chance. It's very even, isn't it, in terms of numbers of passes, accuracy of passes, and that's why we're still level. Need 90 minutes and 60 minutes. Either side being able to be in front at the crucial moment.
Either side have really dominated, but it's been a keenly contested battle so far.
Here's McDonald. Plenty of encouragement from his manager to get on the opposition in the attacking third. It took 3 to stop him, to be fair. Good work by Thompson. The willing Hatfield is there again. Back to Wheatley. Now Michael Liddell. he's given it away to McDonald, and that turnover Walsall trying to use to their advantage. One or two Darlington players pushing forward. McDonald's made them all turn and hair back. Headley did get back.
Yeah, that was a dangerous moment. He'd beaten him once. He allowed Headley to get back and he was running into the box. Just didn't have trickery to go past him the second time. Certainly Headley's worried about his pace and trickery.
Mollett trying to drive it across. Good prevention of that by Wheatley. Kinsella. It's hard going, and fine margins, big prize, tension in the air.
Sure, he'll be the happy of the two coaches at the moment. And Armstrong decided the way his team have played.
But here's, I just wonder with that acceleration that Lavery's got, whether he would beat. Goalkeepers aren't always the fleetest of foot. But Connell got there.
Goalkeepers also aren't particularly good at judging the distance when balls are played over the top. Come out their area and never going to be first to the ball. That was good goalkeeping though from Connell.
Here's Gordon away again. Lavery's in the middle. Deflects, that's certainly not a back pass. Come off the right part of body for Connell to pick it up anyway.
2 or 3 times now that Gordon has just made that run in behind a little and down the side of the centre half. Galbraith.
Looks as though it's a deliberate ploy. Either from the player himself or something that Darryl Clark spotted. It's out. Right-hand position again. Holden. Can't blame him for trying.
Because the position that Holden's playing, he's just tucking in at times and going infield, and Liddell's not quite sure whether to go with him or stay in the space. As he goes in with Holden, Gordon makes the run in behind him. Yeah, they may have had 10 shots, Walsall, but none of them are on target. Darlington with 9 shots and 3 on target. Game is just turning Walsall's way at the moment. They're having more possession.
Clark, but forced into the area. Liddell. Thompson goes down, and he just chips away at you. Bit of a blunt instrument, but a painful one at times for the opposition.
All he's trying to do is barge his way through in between 2 defenders. Any sort of contact, he was going to go down, and this is a good chance for Darlington to whip this one in. Imagine it would be the in-swinger.
2 divisions down from Walsall, remember. 42 places in the pyramid. Gaps that can be bridged in the FA Cup. And shouts for handball. Big shouts from Holness, who peeled away round the back and headed it.
Yeah, he comes round the back. Well, it hits Bates on the arm, but can't give handball, I don't think.
Wasn't in an unnatural position, was it? Another set piece for Darlington, knocking on the Walsall door here. Hatfield. Oh. And that could have snuck in at the near post. I do feel if it's going to happen, he's going to be involved in it.
And it took that slight deflection, but he's right behind it. Certainly didn't go off for a corner.
It's good goalkeeping again. Ian Roberts, who is ahead of Jack Rose, who played in the first game. The pecking order, Rose on loan from Southampton. Might be Something done from the bench, a managerial move to find the crucial moment. So will we go to extra time? Will we go to penalties? Rory Gaffney is on loan from Salford. He is possible one at Watford at Walsall from Salford, and he could come on as a front man. He's probably better at linking the play than the two that they've got out there at the moment. Help Salford get into the Football League. Paid big money for him, like £75,000 from Bristol Rovers. Irish forward, Rory Gaffney. Classily done by Sadler.
There's the movement again. He's saying to him, I want the ball outside of me. Give me space to run into. I want to get 1v1 against Galbraith. So you'd imagine if he does come on, it won't be for Gordon, because Gordon's causing one or two problems.
By Kinsella.
Just wonder if he'll try and change the shape and get another forward on. Really, Holden hasn't affected the game, playing on the right-hand side.
Here's Norman from the right-hand side, and it's a corner for Walsall. Looking to make it 3 consecutive wins in 3 different competitions in 8 days. And James Clark is up there, the captain. Taken by Holden, and Lavery gets his head to it, and they have got the goal. A simple goal Darlington will be furious about, but Caelan Lavery, who scored in the first game, scores here to put the League Two side in front.
Well, you said it, simple goal. Just the ball whipped in towards that near post area. Lavery completely unmarked, attacks the ball. It's a good header, you have to say. Look how easy it is for him to get away from his marker. It's far too easy. It's Liddell that was marking him, not the biggest player by any means. Just gets underneath it here. It's a good header. Just beats the man on that goal line, Headley. He may have been the player that was coming off.
It's not a case of he may have been, he was. Stuart, we're hearing from the far side. He'll be coming off now, maybe not. Might be thinking of how to make a substitution to keep the lead, which has been difficult for both these sides. The rivalry here, foul by Thompson and Sadler.
Just a little bit late.
I think it's fair to say both players knew what they were doing.
And they put that substitution on hold, not surprisingly.
So 20 minutes or so. It seemed a lot longer than that for Darryl Clark. I prefer the goal to be going in the 89th minute.
Good job he didn't make the substitution a couple of minutes earlier.
Here's Holden, who took the corner. Give him credit for that. Could have been a candidate to go off, but Hatfield won't give this up. And Darlington certainly didn't give it up. And they're on the precipice of defeat and cup exit. Hatfield, well, there were times there when Walsall might have got a free kick. And it didn't happen in the end, when the referee let it go. The latest foul was judged on rather than one or two that might have taken place earlier, a few seconds earlier.
Well, Clark wanted the foul for the push by Thompson, then there may have been a handball in amongst all that, and we've seen a yellow card come out.
So James Clark, who was in the centre of that. One assumes the yellow card was for him. Chance to hit back. It's been the story of this tie. By Norman. Gordon on the run again. And he can run. McDonald's in the middle. Good ball carrying by Gordon. Holden. And he started it off. In towards McDonald. The flick actually wasn't going on target, although it was clearly the intention.
He's certainly having a good game now, Gordon, out on that. So he's out on the right-hand side, he's playing through the middle, but he keeps making runs out to the right-hand side.
Into out, isn't it? Yeah. Something that Darlington are struggling to live with at the moment. But do not rule out their competitive nature. Campbell. Little. I feel he's got a debt to repay. Hatfield. Unless in the end just petered out for Darlington.
Got the ball out as much in this second half to Rivers. He was the key player in the first half.
Gordon is a little bit self-indulgent. Game's not won yet. Disappointing for Adam Campbell.
I think he'd be disappointed. Sorry, Martin. I think he'd be disappointed with his whole game. Really, he hasn't been able to get in the match as an attacking play. He's had to do a lot of chasing back. We've seen Thompson make forward runs. We've seen Rivers do well. It's Campbell that hasn't really affected the game.
Headed by Clark. It's as though Gaffney is going to come on 5 minutes after the goal. And a bit of hesitation. There hasn't been much of that from Darlington. There's debate, or it nearly came for Lavery again. By Sadler, picked up by Hatfield. Here's Rivers. Trick in here. Get his cross in, he does. Chance for handball, which has been given against Omar Holness.
There's a challenge in midfield. There it was. Kinsler was unaware the challenge was going to come in. I think it was a complete accident. Maybe winded him, but it was that man Thompson again. He's been involved in most things, good and bad.
Kinsler. That was a Walsall player between 2004 and 2006, and Liam was born in 2006. Sorry, in 1996. He was brought up in the Walsall area, and he joined the club as a young lad when Mark moved there when he was 8 years old. There's the goal.
Yeah, good movement from him. Judged the flight of the ball really well, much better than Michael Liddell did, who started to run towards it, realised it was going over his head, couldn't get a jump in, and what a good header it was. 4 shots he's had, but most importantly, he's got that opening goal for Walsall.
It's his 5th of the season, and they found the way to get the ball on target, and better than that, they've got the ball in the net. Just again, this problem resurfacing for Alan Armstrong, that some of his attacking players aren't available tonight, who've helped the progression through the qualifying rounds. Asagi Bascom and Jordan Donowa playing for Bermuda on international duty in the small hours of Darlington time, anyway, in the small hours of today. And the loss of Tyrone O'Neill going back to Middlesbrough. And, they had the recall, but maybe not the reason for it. That's what they think in Darlington anyway.
Yeah, he was their joint leading goal scorer. Or is still their joint leading goal scorer with Campbell.
Crowd today in various parts of this unique setting is 6 over 3,000. So there could have been a few more. Walsall fans didn't take up their full allocation. Knowing the game would be live on television, I suppose that does sometimes work against those who get up early to go to work. It's a fair hike back to the West Midlands. If you see your team win away in the FA Cup, it might be worth the journey and the lack of sleep. They are winning at the moment. What a ball, and in the end just couldn't set Adam Campbell. It looked as though he was in the right place for the right pass, but not the right outcome.
Well, that's the best run we've seen from him, and a great pass as well. What a good pass that was into the space from Thompson. He's made the right run, just lets it run across his body and lost the moment where he could get onto it. Maybe because he hasn't had that many touches of the ball.
Checking exactly how long there is to go. Not quite the right time up on that big clock, did it?
Good hold-up play again from Thompson.
He's done very well, hasn't he? He's epitomised the best things of Darlington: aggression, attitude, hard work, and one or two very promising moments like the pass. Well, it is Josh Gordon who has played a big part, I think, in Walsall's improvement in the second half. He gives way to Gaffney.
Well, I'm surprised by that because he's been the big threat, hasn't he, Gordon? Whether the manager, Carol Clark, thinks he's run himself into the ground, hasn't got too much left, but he's been really good in the second half.
As I say, Gaffney on loan from Salford. There's still plenty of time for Darlington. The consistency of their play in the second part of the first half hasn't been matched too often in the second period. Just the odd moment like that pass from Armstrong to Campbell a few moments ago. Here comes the hero of the first game, Joe Wheatley, Louis Lang. Looked as though he was set for a long career at Sunderland and quite pan out for him.
Wheatley was the holding midfield player, so they've got rid of the holding midfield player, and it looks like they're just going to play with Holness dropping that little bit deeper. Of
course, he would love insurance of a second goal. It's always a balancing act in the last 10 minutes of matches, if indeed it doesn't go to extra time, whether to protect what you have and maybe invite pressure.
That's why I was a little bit disappointed that Gordon came off, because if Darlington do get an equaliser, he was their biggest threat, Gordon, for Walsall.
Gaffney did start the original tie. He came off and Lavery came on to score in that game. Seen too many examples of the Norman long throw. Gaffney flicks it. trying to steal it and set up for a counter-attack. Donald. Cockerell Mollett. Donald again. Against maybe tiring defenders. He's got Gaffney with him. Gaffney trying to get out of the way in the end, which was sensible. Take up a position for a pass, but McDonald had eyes for maybe the target himself. This time Thompson can't keep it. Kinsella. Got Holden outside it. Lavery through the middle. Gaffney through the middle. Made the one goal so far with a left-footed corner. Can't get a right-footed cross into the same devilish effect. And we're into the last 10 minutes, Stuart.
And they haven't really looked to threat Darlington since Walsall went 1-0 up. We're going to see another substitution.
Well, we're going to see Dan Scarr, who left a scar, you might say, on the first game. He got 2 yellow cards. But the suspension has been served. It's just a 1-game ban, and they've had 2 games since the original match. And it is Wes McDonald who comes off. Well, it is a defensive change, so Darrell Clark saying, what we have we hold, and will he invite pressure and let Darlington back into the game? We'll see.
Yeah, it's always a dangerous decision to do that. He can play at right back, he can play at centre half.
He was one of the 3 centre backs, and then he went to right back when they abolished that plan. And here comes Hatfield, and don't count Darlington out.
Looks as though he's going to play in the middle of a back 3, Scarr.
A strong red wall, that's what at least Darrell Clark will hope for. Still keeping 2 up, of course, in Gaffney and Lavery, the Irish connection. And here's Hatfield. Holness. Headley telling Holness where to go so he can use the space infield. Campbell. To attack. Just lacking the thrust now of Gordon, who's probably the quickest of all their front men.
Yeah, it's definitely a back 3. You can see they're pushing their fullbacks on that little bit more. Cockerell, Mollett down one side, Norman down the other.
Lavery, another goal for Walsall here, and it's curtains you feel for Darlington, even taking into account the history of late drama from the first game. Cockerell Mollett. There's the chase back, and he'd love to be chasing forward in pursuit of an equaliser. He's done his job though in stopping the cross coming in and hoping to keep it just at the 1. It stays like that, there's always a chance right to the last few seconds. Lavery, the goal scorer.
It's amazing what a goal can do. Lavery was just about to be taken off, wasn't he? And suddenly when they do make the change, he stays on, and it's the other front player that goes off, Gordon.
Here's Headley. Trying to keep their composure. Get back to what they were doing well for periods in the first half. It's been a slightly second-rate second half for the non-league team. Let's give for Walsall some credit for that. Here goes Lavery again. Headley. Goes for the big diagonal, but there's plenty back there to head it away. Collected by the man of perpetual motion, Will Hatfield.
When he picks up the ball, you never think he's going to go backwards with a pass or not look forward or not run with it. 2 or 3 occasions he's overrun it, but he's a dynamic player, that's for sure.
Michael Liddell was caught out by the corner that led to the 1 goal so far. Tries to catch Walsall out with a long throw, or a longish throw. Back covering. Holden's made a good run into the box there, and easier to spot from where we are than where Headley was with the ball at his feet. Here's Thompson, 99 goal Thompson.
He's been disappointed with his crossing, Headley. Another chance for him to deliver a good ball into the box, had it blocked by the first man.
Good driven ball again. We mentioned Liam Connell's distribution in the first half, and he's almost turned Walsall with a fast kick forward. He's set up the long throw possibility again. Away by Clark. Hatfield refusing to let Lavery get away and refusing to go down when he was fouled. He wanted to keep playing. In the end, didn't do much about it.
And that's why I'm surprised that Gordon was taken off, because there was the ideal opportunity to bend that ball into the space. Gaffney hadn't made the run. Lavery tried to dwell on it. Suddenly they're going to be facing a ball back into their own box here, Walsall.
Centre-backs, Story and Galbraith are in there. Gaffney do a bit of defending. Forwards hate doing that. Always the best at it. Oh, that was pretty good.
What a great bit of play that was in the end.
Yeah.
Bit of composure, crossfield pass. Not quite sure how it ended up back with their goalkeeper.
Lavery having to make all these runs now. Try and keep Darlington from getting it quickly from back to front. 2 minutes past stoppage time. Remember what happened at Walsall.
97 minutes, they got their equaliser.
Gaffney. Nicely played into midfield by Bates. And that is a slightly desperate tackle from Holness.
Sorry, Martin, they won't be able to play or score in the 97th minute, because I think there's only going to be 3 added on minutes at the end of this game.
Yes, of course, we have a 4-minute stoppage for injury here.
It's a poor challenge from Holness. He got a yellow card for that challenge. When you look at the two teams, whatever the score come the end of the game, there isn't a great deal of difference between a side 2 divisions below and the team in the 4th tier of professional football.
Now, English football can be very proud of its pyramid system. It's all been joined up in the last probably 40 years or so now. It does give scope for a lot of good footballers to earn a living from the game. It's a strong base for the highest levels of English football, where England are celebrating qualifying for the finals of Euro 2020, and Walsall might be celebrating a little bit before the final whistle if they can piece together a move here. Gaffney's just run straight into a tackle. Circumstances, and Dan Scarr, that's not the worst ball. He's pacing around as they go into added time. His team with a 1-goal lead. We're into the first of 3 added minutes. Kinsella, Norman. Holden think about just keeping it here. Others to support that philosophy, like Norman. Little gets a foot in, but only a foot in to give a throw. Alan Armstrong He's been saying in the build-up to this game, and he's given a lot of interviews, I want my team to come off feeling they've given everything, whatever the result. I guess he probably will feel that, and there were periods in the first half where they looked the more likely side. The second half, Walsall have just shown a little bit more difference in purpose, a little tactical switch maybe. Card's going to come out again here. He's certainly reaching for it. But, yeah.
Holden, the player that's going to get the yellow card.
90 seconds away from a place in the second round.
Well, we know he's got a good delivery. This will go somewhere towards the edge of the box.
Trying to push the line up as far as they dare. It's quite flat, and in fact it's forced the error from the goalkeeper.
That's been his worst kick of the game. Probably the most important one. It was the worst from him.
I remember 11 days ago at this stage, Darlington were a goal behind and still managed to contrive a moment to get this replay. Now they're looking for a goal to take it to extra time. Scar wins it. And Headley, the other player like Scar, who was sent off in the first game. Galbraith, 30 seconds on the clock. And that will do Walsall nicely. And Hatfield is trying to turn away.
Does he give Norman a little nudge in the back here? Yeah, he gives him a little push. Yeah, Norman makes the most of it, but right in front of the referee. That really should be it. Good ball played down into the corner.
Walsall on the verge of going into the second round. With a certain amount of cup pedigree. The most famous day was back in the 1930s when they knocked out Arsenal, when Arsenal were the power in the land. And I think 4 of that Arsenal team never played for the club again. It was that much of a shock. Added time to added time. Headley. Rivers. Walsall desperate to hear the final whistle and confirmation of their progress, and that will surely be that. Darlington are out. Alan Armstrong's men gave it all they could, and in the first half just came in at half-time thinking that they were the more likely side to go on and win it. But Caelan Lavery, the Canadian-Irishman playing in the West Midlands for Walsall these days, has got Darrell Clark smiling in the end. And after, remember, 6 consecutive league defeats, they then drew with Darlington. Things looked pretty murky 11 days ago. But they've won in the trophy 6-0. They've won in League 2 against Cambridge 2-1, and they've won 1-0 here in the FA Cup. And they will face Oxford United in the second round. Darlington 0, Walsall 1. Well, the first game was tight and the replay turned out to be exactly the same. But in the end, the league side got the better of their non-league opponents, who had home advantage tonight and had their brighter moments, Stuart, in the first half.
Yeah, and 2 of their brightest players were involved in this one. First of all, Rivers down the right-hand side. It's a good cross into the box. And that man, Hatfield, a midfield player who really was dynamic throughout the game. Good first touch, power in the shot. But just a nice height for the goalkeeper, Roberts. Certainly shown his quality over the 2 games, Hatfield.
A long throw from Norman and from around the penalty spot, Rory Holden with a sight of goal, and there weren't too many of those for Walsall, and getting a shot on target was difficult for them for a long part of the game.
Yeah, he just couldn't quite get his balance right here. He does well just to bring it down on the half volley, slices across it.
Again, the dynamism from the dynamo Hatfield, but he was stopped by Cochrane Mollett. And Gordon, who got better as the game wore on, might have done better here.
Yeah, he certainly had a look at goal there, clear sight of it. Did well to get away from Story, just gets underneath it, big chance for him.
What we did notice as the first half developed, the barometer was Michael Little, the left back, getting more and more involved in the attacking play, and this was perhaps a moment that typified that.
Yeah, he certainly got a good left foot. He doesn't really show it with that shot there, but he got forward at the right times. He just stepped into that midfield area. Fairly comfortable save for Roberts in the end.
It was the long throw in the corners that troubled Darlington most in the first half, and Kellen Lavery in a good position, but not a good finish.
Well, so many front players just hang around the corner of the 6-yard box, know the ball often comes into that area. His first touch was okay, but couldn't get the shot away.
Half a chance really for Stephen Thompson. It wasn't probably quite enough. He was trying to put some power on the ball. This is the counter-attacking that Josh Gordon produced in the second half. And, tried to combine there with Lavery, and that was really a sign, I think, of things to come.
Well, it was a brilliant move. Holden with the outside of his left foot into the space. Gordon kept on making that run, and Lavery does really well just to get across the front of the defender.
Again, fine margins, looking for openings, maybe clutching at straws a little bit with a shout for handball there. And with Bates, who Holness was saying had handled.
Yeah, just come on as well, Bates. It's a bit of a mismatch at the far post. He's not the biggest player, Bates. Holness tries to hit it, but you can't give handball for that.
Still 0-0. The suggestion that a set piece might settle it, as it indeed turned out to do, but not in Darlington's favour. There was a deflection on that from Hatfield. Goalkeeper did well.
He did, because it took a slight deflection. It's a good first touch. He's trying to cross it into the box. It ends up being a shot. Roberts claws it.
This was the moment of the night, Stuart.
Certainly was. Good delivery into the box. I think Michael Little will be disappointed because he was marking Lavery. And he starts his run towards the ball, gets underneath it. Lavery judges it well. And what a good header. Gets it past the goalkeeper and the player on the line. And he was just about to be brought off 1 or 2 minutes before that. And they certainly changed their mind after he scored that goal.
Well, Darlington pressed for the last. That was a great ball by Thompson. Adam Campbell had a frustrating evening, really, as Darlington did in the end. Generally knocked out by 1-0. So, in the end, the one shot on target that Walsall managed won them the place in the second round. The action areas for you, and again the majority in the middle of the field. There was very little between the two teams. It was just one good corner or slip shot defending from a corner, whichever way you want to look at it, which decided the destiny of the evening. Walsall more on the right with Gordon going out there after McDonald had shown a lot on the left in the first half. Well, he might have been taken off at 0-0. He got the moment, his goal to make it 1-0, and whatever the other stats tell you about him, it's the goal that mattered. It was a big goal for Walsall Football Club. And if one player didn't deserve to be a loser, it was Will Hatfield, who at the age of 28 could still perhaps come into Football League contention again, because he will have impressed scouts watching this game. Well, there was action elsewhere, not too many goals around. Ipswich won at Lincoln. They'll play Coventry, two former winners. Alan Judge in the 94th minute settled that one. Newport, who've had some good cup runs in recent times as well, knocking out Grimsby by 2-0, and they're into extra time. Tranmere with 10 men have taken it to extra time. That's a great comeback. Mickey Mellon's side. But it's Darrell Clarke who's the happy manager up here in the northeast tonight. It was a very tight game. A set piece decided it. A well-travelled striker decided it. A man of many clubs, Caelan Lavery, and he got the goal that has sent Walsall through to play Oxford United in round 2. Hope you've enjoyed it. From Stuart Robson and myself, Martin Tyler, a very good night to you all.